All right, we're back again. Short little intermission. Jay's Fight Talk. We're here for Keyshawn Davis versus Gustavo Lemos this time. A fight I was looking forward to. I know we discussed it a little bit earlier in the week on the
Yeah.
podcast, but just coming on to give some short predictions here. But in the last hour, Jay, the both men have weighed in. Keyshawn Davis under the 135 limit, no problem at all for him. However, Gustavo Lemos, 6.4 pounds over the weight, 141.4. He hasn't even made super lightweight for tomorrow's fight. Now, as far as I understand from the reports that I'm reading, the fight's going to be on, but there's going to be a strict rehydration limit on Lemos. But could be an advantage for the Argentinian, this, mate. He's a good, solid fighter as it is. You know, we've seen him beat Lee Selby before he's knocked him out. He fought Richardson Hitchens last out. He's only lost one fight, and that was last out to Richardson Hitchens. We know he's solid. He's going on to fight Liam Paro for the IBF belt. But yeah, just your reaction to the miss of weight by that much, and yeah, just overall. I know Keyshawn, you're a big fan of his.
Massive.
Big up Pablo for tuning in, my friend.
Yes, Pablo, thanks for joining us, brother. Yeah, a couple of things. I'm disappointed first and foremost as someone who's followed boxing for 40 years and has had amateur and professionals at a fairly high level in my close family. So I know what boxers and fighters go through to make weight and to miss weight by so much, for me, is one of two things. It's either unprofessional and he's just not even tried to make weight, because that's not missing it by ounces or half a pound or even a pound, right?
Yeah.
You can misjudge. But once you start getting over a pound, that's not a misjudgment. That's just not trying. And half a stone, we're talking about nearly. Half a stone, right? Or it's a tactic. And he don't want to deplete himself the day before the fight.
Ryan Garcia in it against Haney.
Possibly, man. Possibly.
He
I mean,
hasn't
that's
made
a lot.
135, Jay, since he fought Lee Selby in 2022. His last two fights have been at 140.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is if he couldn't, then we would have not, or they would have known about this. Davis's team and the promotion, Eddie Hearn and whatnot, would have known about this earlier on in the week. They would have contacted him and said, "Look, we're not on track," because they'll be scheduling cuts, won't they? Water loading, sweating, etc. They go through, they go through pound stages and they have target weights, right? And he will have missed one of his targets. So they would have informed them and said, look, he's not going to make 135. Can we do it 138? Can we do it 140? Doing it the night of the weigh-in or the day of the weigh-in or check weight or whatever, to come in at 6 point something pounds over, you've not even tried. Because that £6 is usually the last bit that they lose either the night before or the morning off. You haven't tried.
You haven't even begun the hard part of the weight cut if you're 6.4 pounds over the contracted weight.
Which makes me feel that it's a tactic and he didn't want to deplete himself taking off the last bit. Because for him now, okay, they're going to monitor his rehydration. It's not about that. It's what he hasn't lost, getting to the 135 that's the problem, not him gaining a further £10. He's already at an advantage because Keyshawn's boiled himself down to make 135. Right? He hasn't. He's got himself down to 141. Yeah, it stinks for me. I don't like it, but, I think Keyshawn will punish him for it.
Yeah, well, look, like Pablo says, Lemos is heavy-handed. This is another, and it's got shades of Garcia Haney written all over it. It really has for me as well. And I think Lemos has a much better chance in the fight than maybe he did before. Because, like you say, Keyshawn's been diligent, is depleted himself probably to make 134.2. I think it was that he weighed in or something like that. He's comfortably under 135, and this guy hasn't even essentially probably gone through a weight cut. If he took the fight at 135, which he has, and he hasn't made the weight for 2 years, and there's a possibility that his body just shut down trying to make it. But again, like you say, something about it doesn't completely sit right with me.
Not now. Listen, we all know, we've all dieted and we've all lost weight. Not like boxers. Me and you are not professional boxers, but I know enough about the sport to know that there's a process that you go through. You don't just crash it all on the last day. What you do is you'll set yourself goals and targets during fight camp, and you hit those targets, you'll hit the next one and the next one and the next one. To get to £6 is ordinarily 12 to 24 hours before. I've seen a family member lose £7. That's the most I've seen him lose the night of. right, or the night before. And they can do that by water loading and then sweating it out, hot baths, etc. Right? He's not tried, and that makes me think he wants to be as strong as possible going into fight night, because for me, he can't outbox Keyshawn. He can only beat him on stopping him, putting him on his bum, and accumulation of heavy shots. So I think he's doing it for it to be advantageous to him in terms of, as Pablo said, he's heavy-handed anyway. He can afford to maybe lose. I don't know if he loses a percentage of his purse or what, or the renegotiate the purses or whatnot. He's obviously not bothered about that. He's more bothered about the win. So he's giving himself as much advantage as possible. And to be, what will he be? Maybe between 10 and 15 pounds heavier than Keyshawn now on fight night? That's a lot, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's good. It's all advantage to him. Now, it really isn't. You know, a lot of people are talking about Lemos. He's had a lot more fights than Keyshawn. You have to remember, he's only 28 years old himself. You know, he's 29-1. I believe his record is, you know,
dangerous, man.
This is 31st pro fight. Keyshawn, I believe, is 11-0. So there's a big golfing difference. And, you know, don't get me wrong, Keyshawn has the credentials and he looks a real talent, you have to say. But, you know, as bad as it sounds, because I'm not condoning Lemos missing weight, but I was on the edge of whether I was going to get up and watch this fight.
Now.
I am intrigued about it now. I can't lie.
Me too.
I feel like the scale is kind of, you know, no pun intended.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah,
I had to weigh in then, mate.
Oh, dear.
I saw the penny drop as you were halfway through the sentence.
I said it and
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Wrong choice of words there. Yeah, I feel like, anyway, I'm a lot more...
it's closer now.
Yeah, for sure. Because I anticipated Keyshawn to kind of 8-2 him, 9-1.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, I did.
10 rounder, but, you know, could he get cold now? You know,
well, I don't think he'll get cold, but can he hold a shot? Keyshawn's barely been touched in the 10-11 fights that he's had. He's very slick. He's very fast.
Yeah,
punches in clusters. Yeah, and he punches in clusters. So he'll go in 4 or 5 punch combination, 6, 7 punch combination, and find his way out. If he starts to get a little bit slower because he's getting lent on and he's getting held by somebody that's significantly bigger than him, that's when we'll see how he holds a shot. And he's holding a shot from a welterweight pretty much, you know. And he's boxing at what, super feather, and he's fighting a welterweight or lightweight or whatever. But yeah, it's unfair. But if Keyshawn's team are willing to take the fight, then they must be confident. But for me, it just stinks of trying to gain an unfair advantage.
Yeah, most definitely. So I guess that leads into the question then, Jay. Where's your prediction going for the fight? My prediction has been the same really since the fight was announced. I've always been interested in it because I think it's a decent step up for Keyshawn. But, you know, he has fought, you know, Anthony Yiggett, who, probably passed his best at the time. Jose Pedraza, who's been around for a long time. I remember Tank knocking him out to win his first world championship. But again, I guess a good name. But with Lemos, he's 28 years old. He's a prime guy. MT's joined us. Thanks as always, MT. They tried to weight drain Lemos, but bringing him down to 135 from 140. I know what you mean because he has been campaigning at 140. Obviously, fought Hitchens at Hitchens last out 140. And his last fight at 135 was when he retired Lee Selby. He stopped Lee Selby, and Selby hasn't fought since in his home country of Argentina. So yeah, I know what you mean, MT, about that one for sure. But put it this way, Jay. I was 90-10 probably in Keyshawn's favour up until about an hour ago. I think it's 70-30 now.
You know what I'm going to say, don't you? You know exactly what I'm going to say.
You're going to back Lemos here now, aren't you? I know you are. Yeah. But
Lemos knockout.
The money that's come on him now.
I'll be lumping on him tonight. That's for sure. I hope she's not watching. We're on beans on toast next week, babes. But no, I'd have to. Keyshawn is my boy, and I expect him to win on points. But I would not be surprised if we see an unexpected knockout because of this. But saying that, Davis's team have still taken the fight. If they weren't 100% confident with or without this extra weight, they'd just backed out. They'd have just said, "Look, we made it 135. You know, you've been unprofessional. We'll either see you at 135 or we'll fight somebody else." Keyshawn's took the fight, and ultimately, the decision is, I know he's got a team, but the fighter has the ultimate say-so. You know, regardless of what we get told about, oh, my team makes this decision, my team makes that. If you want the fight, ultimately somebody will ask you the question at some stage, won't they? Whether your team handles it and talks on your behalf, they're talking on your behalf. They've got a yes from Keyshawn, so he's obviously confident. So I'm picking Keyshawn on points, but I'm going to stick a fiver on Lemos knockout just in case.
Yeah, I think it's interesting now, because as soon as I saw that news, I was like, the fight's off. There's no way that Bob Arum and
I didn't see it. You told me, and as soon as you told me, I thought, "Oh, that's not good. That fight's
it's not missing by 0.2, or you know, it's
half a stone, man. That's the, you know, there's 14 pounds in a stone.
Yeah, it's the old adage, isn't it? It's not missing. It's not missing weight.
That's not missing weight. That's not failing to make weight.
Yeah. Or not even attempting to make weight. You know,
just
how long ago would he have known that he's not?
Earlier on this week. Like I said to you, like I said earlier on, normally, and I've been involved in, or I've been in and around, you know, several high-profile camps for like world title fights and shit like that. But I've also seen people that are boxing journeymen, and they still do camps, and they normally have check weights. You know, so if you're a 135 and you're walking around at 150, for example, right? And you've got an 8-week camp, you'll set yourself weekly goals of X amount of pounds. So end of week 1, you want to be at 148. End of week 2, you want to be at 143 or whatever. And it goes down like that. So on Saturday or Sunday or Monday, right, Lemos has known that he's probably at 152, let's say, right? And he's boiled down to 146. Now that 6 should have been yesterday. And then last night, it would have been hot baths, salts on Epsom salts, whatever they use, sweat boxes and sweatsuits, and he'd have got that out of him. He's not even tried to.
He can't do 135 anymore. This if he fights.
I don't think he ever could. I think he knew when he took it, and he just tried to get as close as he can.
I agree with MT. I think Keyshawn and Top Rank and everyone's brought him down to almost drain him, essentially. Yeah, there you go, 8-1 on Lemos for a knockout, Jay. That's insane. It's probably changed. Yeah, he's right.
It won't be that night. It'll be at 4 or 6-1 or something like that.
Yeah, so it potentially could have backfired, but I'm really, really intrigued. There'll be financial penalties. There'll be all the rest of it. And to be honest with you, if he knocks Keyshawn out or beats him, whatever, he won't get any credit for it anyway. It'll just have one of those asterisks next to the win, which, again, you know, it's probably took a little bit of the glamour off the fight in a way, but it's made me way more interested. And I'm not condoning the miss of weight. I'm just saying it probably makes it for a more interesting fight.
Yeah, it's there's more intrigue. I mean, me and you'll be there, you know, we'll be there watching it, and you know, with bated breath. I think even if it had got to 137, 138, it would have been more acceptable.
Yeah,
but to miss it by 6 and a bit pounds
is weight class. You've missed the next.
Yeah, you're not even trying. You know, he could have boxed Jack Cattrall last week. You know, a week before, if he'd have done a bit of skipping. It just stinks of a tactic for me, more of an accident or a miscalculation. At this level or at that level, you know, you shouldn't be making mistakes like that. It's not a mistake. That it's a tactic for me.
He's fought 30 times before. Lemos has made weight 30 times before in his career. I don't know if he's missed before. He might have done, but
not like that.
He's no stranger to this kind of thing. You know, just the whole thing's just been a bit of a mess. But we'll look forward to it anyway. We're both picking Keyshawn Davis to win on points, but my pendulum is leaning back towards the Argentinian now a little bit. So yeah, again, intrigue.
Pendulum then instead of scales.
Yeah, the scales. It's no longer the scales. The intrigue is my intrigue level is a lot higher than what it was anyway. So yeah, I believe the ring walks are around about 4 a.m. Saturday morning UK time.
We will see you there.
It's in Norfolk at the Scope Arena. But yeah, I'm not too sure about who's on the card or whatever it is, but it's on Sky Sports in the UK. It's Top Rank card, ESPN in the US. So at least we can watch it that way. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, mate. Really is. Thanks to MT and Pablo for tuning in and joining us. And yeah, catch us in the early hours of Saturday morning for the
See you there.
This one should be interesting. Have a great evening, everybody, and thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Cheers, Jay.